Hi everyone, my name is Melissa. In this video we'll explore my solution to problem of the week number 12. In this round we revisited Enterprise DNA's maiden problem of the week challenge, creating a perpetual holiday calendar from a mix of specific and relative dates. But this time around using only Power Query and M. So if you're stuck on the problem breakdown itself, you could revisit that first iteration to see if there's elements in any of those approaches that could help you on your way. In the submissions so far, I've seen a mix of people leveraging the user interface more and others really getting into writing custom functions. It's been so enjoyable to analyze each entry, and if you want to get inspired, I encourage you to do the same. Now, when I was working through this scenario myself, I ended up creating multiple solutions. The one I've decided to go with, I think, best illustrates how you could break down a problem like this into smaller pieces, but also make them visible. And that's very helpful if you encounter an error or an unexpected result, for example. So let's get started. This is the raw holiday table and our starting point. To piece together a date, we need a year, a month, and a day. For specific dates, all that's missing is the year. But for relative dates, we need to do a little bit more work. For starters, we need to split that day column into both the numeral and the weekday. So there's some preparation that needs to be done. Let's review those steps. To make this solution dynamic, I'm going to retrieve the years from the dates table. In the formula bar, you'll see that I've used projection to get a single column table from my date table. Now that, of course, will contain duplicates. To remove those, I've added table.distinct. So when I click off to the side in the white space beside any of these tables, you'll see a list with the distinct years present in my date table query. We were also given a month name, but we actually need a month number. Now, when you concatenate the year to a month name, you can use the date.from function to return the first of that month as a date value. By adding a date.month, we're left with just the month number for that specific date. So for the first record, that returns a 1, January. For February, it returns a 2, and so on. Now, to get the numeral from the day column, I decided not to split that column, but to extract the value. As you can see in the formula bar, I used text.before delimiter and used that space to identify the right and the left part of that text string. Now, if there's no space, I want to return whatever remains in the day column. So for the first record, that returns a 1. For the second record that contains that space, it returns the first part of that text string, the word third, and so on. I used a similar approach to get the date name, but I passed that to another function, List.PositionOf. This returns the zero-based offset of the value in the list, passed as first argument. And it returns -1 if the value doesn't appear in that list. So for the first record, it passes the value 1, which isn't present in our list. So it returns the value of -1. Then for the second record, it returns the value Monday. It passes that to our function, and that returns a 1. Because it's the second item in our list. Next, I replace all -1 values with a null. And at this point, we've created all of the building blocks we need to invoke my custom function. In the formula bar, we can see that my function takes 4 arguments: a year, a month, a numeral, and a weekday. But how does it determine that date value? Let's also take a look at that. Again, I'm using the List.PositionOf to get a numeric value for the numeral. So we have a list containing first, second, third, and fourth. When we pass the numeral to that List.PositionOf, it returns the zero-based offset. Again, if a value is not present, it returns a -1. So for the first record, we're passing the value 1. 1 isn't present in this list, so it returns the value -1. For the second record, we're passing it the value third, which is the third item in our list. So that returns the value 2. Then I'll create a list of dates. I determined the start date for that month, determined the number of days in that month, and use list.dates to create a list containing all the days in that month. Next, I'll use List.Select to only retain those dates that are on a specific weekday. So if I now click off to the side besides any of those lists, we can see that it only contains those 4 items. Then finally, I can apply some conditional logic to construct or retrieve a date. So if the weekday is null, indicating I have a specific date, I can use the intrinsic hash date to construct a date value. If my numeral equals last, then I can use the list.reverse to reverse the order in my list and then extract the first value. Now if I want to change this ascending order into descending, I can always extract the last date from that range of dates. So no matter if I have 4 or 5 elements in my list, by reversing the order and extracting the first item, I always have the last date. And finally, in all other cases, I can use List.Skip. I can extract the value based on its position in the list. So for Thanksgiving Day, the numeral is 4th. 4th returns a 3. So we're going to skip 3 values in the list. So 1, 2, 3, and that will always return that 4th item. Let's put it all together. I'll step to my solution query. And in the source tab, I'm calling my raw holidays table. Next, I'm adding a column that returns a list with dates. Let's check the M code for that column. For each row in my table, I nested a table containing the distinct years from my dates table. Then I transformed the values in that year column by calling my custom function. Of course, to be able to invoke my custom function, we had to do some setup. So we had to get the month number, we had to get the numeral value, and of course, the weekday. Then from that nested table, we kept the list with dates. So when I click off to the side in the white space, we can see a preview of that list down below. Next, I expanded that list. And finally, I added the celebrated on date. So, if the date is a Saturday, then we're going to subtract a day, so we land on a Friday. And if it's a Sunday, then we're going to add a day to land on a Monday. If it's not a Saturday or a Sunday, then we want a null. And finally, I changed the types. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching. All the best.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Enterprise DNA TV. If you enjoyed the content covered in this particular tutorial, please throw the video a like. It really helps us and we really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Enterprise DNA TV channel. We have a huge amount of content coming out all the time from myself and a range of content creators, all dedicated to improving the way that you use Power BI and the Power Platform. Lastly, check out Enterprise DNA's website. Plenty of resources and further learning that you can access very easily. All the best. Take care.